What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to JohnnyKpicks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC Fight Night San Antonio Vera versus Sandhagen. Now, first things first, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you just haven't yet, and don't forget to click that little bell so you know when all my new videos pop up or any live streams that come up throughout the week as well. So UFC 286, man, where do I begin? I know I normally go over all the fights for that, and it's gonna be might be a little bit longer. So you might want to stick around here because I got a lot to go over on these fights because it was one of the worst judging events I've ever watched. And we're gonna go over all the bad and some of the good, but mostly most of this was bad. So for my picks, I ended up going 7-7-1, so not super amazing, but it was definitely better than last week. And for my bets, I had 6 bets, and I ended up winning 3 out of the 6, but I ended up with plus 1.04 units profit. So that makes 4 winning cards in a row. So I'm getting my streak going up here. I still got a little bit of work to do to make up for the awfulness that I did earlier in the year in the first like 3 or 4 cards. So still got some work to do, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that, guys. So let's go over these fantastic fights here. First fight is Veronica Hardy versus Juliana Miller. I picked Miller. I think a lot of people did, but Hardy looked great and Miller did not. And that's about all you can really say. Miller didn't look like she knew what she was doing in there. She basically was just going for submission after submission, but she got taken down. She was getting outstriked for the majority of the fight, and Hardy was defending those submissions and won a clear 30-27. I had no problems with that one. Next fight, Jai Herbert versus Ludovic Klein. I thought Herbert was winning that fight until the low blow took a point away, and then it became a draw. But very close fight. I'm not mad about the draw. I did pick Klein. I bet Klein. I could see people being mad about the Herbert decision. It may be that he could have still won with the point taken, but I think the draw was the right thing. Even though I hate draws, I actually didn't even know the judge or the ref took a point away from Klein until right after the third round ended because I thought he was going to lose no matter what. And I was in shock that there was no point taken for 2 nut shots in like a minute. So, weird fight. It sucks that it has to end that way, but it is what it is. Next one is Joanne Wood versus Luana Carolina. Wood looked really good all 3 rounds, won all 3 rounds very convincingly, and it went to split decision. One judge gave Carolina a 29-28, and that's ridiculous. There is no way Carolina won 2 rounds of that fight. So whoever that judge was definitely smoking something because that was the first debacle of the judging. No way this should have went to split decision. No way. Next fight, Hadley versus Gordon. Hadley looked amazing out there. Got that body strike to knock him down, and he did not get up. He was down for a while. So good shot from Jake. And I thought it was going to go to the second round, and Jake would get a submission, but nope, he didn't need it. He only needed about a minute, and he got that knockout. So good win from him. Unfortunate event here. Christian Duncan versus Dushko Todorovic. Yeah, Dushko's knee is done. Probably an ACL, something like Rakic or even Tom Aspinall, like those kind of injuries. He's gonna be out for about a year, unfortunately. But um, it's hard to say a good win from Duncan because this fight only lasted about 2 minutes, but he was doing decent. He was controlling for the majority of the fight. Like I said, it was very early, so you don't even know how this fight could have went on. Um, so it's kind of like a meh, but good win, I guess, if you want to say. Number 2 fight that was not judged correctly in my eyes, Lerone Murphy versus Gabriel Santos. Very impressed with Gabriel Santos. And if he had a full fight camp, he definitely would have won this convincingly 30-27. I thought he won this like 29-28. The first round was close, the second round or the third round was close, I think, as well, if I remember correctly. But I did not think Lerone Murphy lost or won that fight. I thought he lost. I had a bet on Murphy. I got lucky. It's like one of the 3 times ever that the judges kinda threw me a bone there. I'm gonna take it and run because they already messed me up later in the fight or on the card, so I will get to that later. But, yeah, I feel bad for all the Gabriel Santos, bettors. That was a good bet. I thought he won, but, um, judges were crazy. M Weird fight, Makaya versus Fialho or Filho. Um in the first round, it looked like Mikhaev tapped his back like he was tapping out, and towards, I think the end of the first round, and then he basically took the second round off because he did not look the same. He looked like he was very timid, like he didn't wanna shoot for a takedown, like he didn't wanna throw a strike on his right arm, and then the third round hit, and then he just came out guns blazing. Fialho almost had him in that knee bar. I don't know how he didn't tap, and then he ended up getting a submission. So, really weird chain of events happening in that fight. Makhaev got the submission again late in the third round. Good win from him. That little tap in that first round, though, was very suspect, though. Very suspect. And I'm sure the ref didn't see it because it was, behind him and he wasn't in that position to see it. So I don't blame the ref for that, but I just didn't know if they could have went to the um, cameras to check that out because that's a little weird. And we'll just go from there. I don't know how long Makayev's going to be out now because he looked a little gimpy coming up after getting that submission. His shoulder was already jacked. He needed to get surgery on it, so he might be out for about a year now, maybe close to a year. So hopefully he can come back quick. But good win from him. Crazy, crazy, crazy fight. Ashmaz versus Sam Patterson. I told you in my breakdown videos, I was not impressed with Patterson. I reluctantly picked him. I shouldn't have done that. And I didn't have a bet on the fight because I wasn't very convinced. I just thought Patterson can survive the first round, and he didn't. He survived a minute and 15 seconds. And Ashmaz knocked him out. And Patterson thought he was still fighting after Goddard was telling him to calm down. Pretty crazy, but um, very good win from Ashmaz. Chris Duncan versus Omar Morales. This is another judging debacle. I thought Duncan won 29-28 pretty convincingly. The first round, you could have gave it to Morales, but there was one judge that clearly thought that Morales won all 3 rounds. Don't know how. Awful, very awful, but that's, I believe his name was Paul Sutherland or something like that, I believe. That was the person who gave him a 30-27. Very, very bad judging right there. That was not even close. Jack Shore versus Makwan Americani. We This is how pretty much everyone thought it was going to go down. Americani looked good in the first round, like he always does. He probably won that first round. Second round hit, he had nothing left. He couldn't do anything. His cardio literally just fell off a cliff. He had nothing left, and Jack Shore took advantage of it and got the rear naked chokes. A good win from him. Marvin Vittori versus Roman Dolidze. So, as I was watching this fight, I will say this. I really thought that Roman did enough. 29-28. I'm not saying 30-27 or anything. It was a close fight, but I really thought he did enough landing the more impactful shots. I know Vittori landed more significant strikes with those leg kicks, but to me, those leg kicks really didn't do too much. I thought Dolidze in the first round touched up Vittori. He was starting to bleed about on his nose, or if it was, I don't know if it was his eye, but so I thought he won the first round, and the second and third rounds were very close. So I just thought that Delise did enough. But yet again, the judges, Paul Sutherland gave Vittori 30-27. I just disagree with that. I could see 29-28 Vittori. I wouldn't be mad, but I just don't see how it's a 30-27. Maybe I'm not gonna go back and rewatch this. I'm gonna let you guys know this. I'm just going from memory. I had a night to um digest everything. And I will say I was a little bit more mad at the time, but now I'm not. But I still think a 30-27 Vittori is the wrong call. It should be 29-28. So it is what it is. It just and we'll move on up because I can keep going in this. I know I don't want to keep you guys here forever. Maya versus O'Neal. Good win for Maya. Maya won that one clearly. I had O'Neal in a bet, and I should have just stayed away because O'Neal was coming back from injury. That was the one little worry that I had. I kind of looked it over, and I think O'Neal is better than that. But Manny from MMA Fight Club, if you watched our fight companion, he said we're only seeing like 70, 75% of Casey O'Neal, and I agree with that. the injury, a little bit of time off. Maya's looking good. She's staying active. So good win from Maya. Should have stayed away, but I didn't. Gunnar Nelson versus Barberina. Good win from Nelson. I figured as soon as he got this fight to the mat, it was going to be over fairly soon after that. That's basically what happened. So we won't get anything too crazy. But here is the best fight card or judging of the night: Gaethje versus Fiziev. First things first. Let me get a drink. Okay, now I'm ready. First things first. Very fun fight. Love the fight. Both these guys laid it out there, landing bombs, going for the finish. Didn't end up no one getting the finish. But let's go to the judging here. Um, One judge gave Gaethje the first round. To me, there's no way Gaethje won the first round. Fiziev clearly won the first round. Not even a question about it. Again, not gonna go back and rewatch these fights. I will die on this hill if you want to say I know he won that first round. Not to say Gaethje didn't do anything, but Fiziev was the more active guy. He was landing the better shots. He landed the more strikes in the first round too. So you can go back and look at the stats. That's what I did. I wanted to make sure he did. Second round was close. I still gave it to Fiziev, but it was closer than the first. And the third round, one judge gave Gaethje a 10-8 with no knockdown. He didn't knock him down. And Fiziev was literally landing good strikes the first half of the third round. He started to slow down in the second half of the third round. But how do you give a 10-8 to a fighter when they don't knock down anyone, or if they almost didn't get submitted, whether they controlled you on the mat for 4 minutes and 50 seconds? Like, this guy, again, Paul Sutherland, giving out these 10-8s like it's nothing. That is the worst 10-8 I've ever seen given to a fighter, the easiest, I should say, because to me, yeah, Gaethje did great and he won that round, but not a 10-8. I can guarantee that. So, with all that being said, with a different judge giving Gaethje round 1 and this Paul Sutherland guy giving Gaethje a 10-8 to giving this fight a draw, it went to decision, a majority decision when it should have went to Fiziev. So I know this is just me. I'm dying on this hill. Like I said, Fiziev won the fight. He won rounds 1 and 2 pretty clearly to me. Like I said, I know I said round 2 was closer than the first round, but it still you can tell Fiziev won that fight. But that was the worst judging scorecard of the night, and not very happy about that. It's still in there. If you watch the fight companion, I was not happy, and I'm still not because I think that's awful. It was like what is probably the worst judging scorecard in a while. I can't even think of one right now because I'm that mad. But anyways, and then Leon Edwards versus Usman. Good fight. Leon won clearly. Whether you want to give him a 48, what was it, 48-46 or something like that. I'm okay with that. Usman won one round, and maybe he won the round where Edwards got a point deducted. But other than that, he didn't win this fight. So I'm okay with that judge or the scorecard there, even though it went to decision majority. So it is what it is. Like I said, just a weird card overall. I know a lot of people were mad about some of these judges' scorecards, which I'm one of them. Um, just some weird, crazy stuff, man. But what are you gonna do? It is what it is. You gotta move on to the next one. Hopefully, I know it's in Texas. The judges aren't really known for being great in Texas either. So maybe we can get better judges. But for my bets, here they are. I had Usman by decision. That was a bad bet. I had Murphy and Nelson for one bet that hit. Like I said, I thought Murphy lost, so I got lucky. Klein and Fiziev. Klein got lucky with that point deduction. I thought Fiziev won, so I did lose that bet. Um, Fight to start round twos with Jack Shore and Makayev hit. Hadley and Makayev O'Neal parlay. O'Neal lost, so unfortunately that didn't hit. And then over 1.5 fight starts round 3 and fight starts round 4 hit too. So overall, like I said, I won 1.04 units right there. 4 winning fight cards in a row. We're gonna keep it going. Wish it would have been a little bit higher than that, but right now you can't be too greedy, guys. So it is what it is. So let's get to the fights for UFC San Diego, Vera versus Sandhagen. So First fight is going to be Tamara's Vidal versus Haley Cowan. Vidal is 7-1, 24 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach. And Cowan is 7-2, 31 years old, 5'8", with a 69-inch reach, we will say. So Vidal has solid grappling and submissions. Her striking isn't the greatest. She's kind of wild. Even though she did get a good KO against let me see, what was her name? Pasquale, the flying knee to the body, but her striking really isn't that great. She's strong, but she hasn't really fought the greatest competition. So it's something to look at here. With Cowan, she's making her UFC debut. She was supposed to fight, I think, a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. She had to pull out because of an injury, I believe. She's got solid striking, good kicks. She's got good wrestling, but her takedowns can use a little bit of work, if you want to say. Very strong as well in the clinch. Also, hasn't really fought the greatest competition. So if you want to say this is kind of a lower level women's MMA fight, and what do we do with those fights? We just stay away. Stay away, guys. But this is a very tough fight to predict. But because both these fighters are, new to the UFC, or they're making a UFC debut, haven't hasn't really fought a lot of good competition. So it's really tough, but I'm gonna go with Vidal, actually. I think her grappling is gonna be the key in this fight. I think this fight's eventually going to get to the mat one way or another, and if that's the case, I favor Vidal's grappling and submission ability. Cowan has been submitted twice in her 2 losses, so that's something to think about there. On the feet, though, it's gonna be closer. I may favor Cowan a bit, but who knows what's gonna happen with this crazy fight. I'm staying far away, but with my pick, I'm gonna go with Vidal to win this one. I'm gonna say she gets the submission in the 2nd round. This fight will get to the mat eventually somehow, whether it's a Cowan takedown or Vidal gets a takedown, who knows? So, staying away from betting. I don't even wanna touch the overs, the unders. Um, I don't like the money line on Vidal, so I'm gonna stay away again. If you wanna do dog or pass here for a bet, if you really wanna bet, I would say Cowan might be a good look. Stay away though. Next one is Vinicius Salvador versus Victor Altamirano. Salvador is 14-4, 26 years old, 5'7", with a 70.5-inch reach. And Altamirano is 11-2, 32 years old, 5'8", with a 70.5-inch reach as well. So Salvador is making his UFC debut. He's a high volume striker with good power in his hands. He keeps his hands low from time to time, which can make him very hittable though. He's got a solid chin, so he can take it, but every once was gonna be that one time where he can't take that hit though. Something to think about. Um, Takedown defense is just okay. Not It's not awful, but it's not great. And but he does have some grappling he can use. He has a good get up game, but he definitely wants to keep this fight standing. Altamirano's got good striking as well. He's got good power. Well, not great power, but let's just say okay power. He's got high volume as well. He can be hittable. Also, he does have better wrestling than Salvador, I believe, and so he can use that to mix things up here. I think he's a little bit more well rounded, if you want to say, in this fight. But another tough one to predict. I think the line is about correct. It's a coin flip here. It's a pick 'em. But I'm gonna side with Altamirano here. I just think he's more well-rounded, so if he's not doing that well on the feet, he can use his grappling and wrestling. He can get this fight to the mat. Like I said, Salvador doesn't really have the greatest takedown defense, so I think he can take advantage of that. Both guys are tough, so I don't see a finish in this fight. But with my pick, like I said, I'm gonna go with Altamirano to win a very close back and forth decision. Might be 1-1 going into the 3rd, and I think Altamirano might just barely squeak out the 3rd round. From a betting perspective, depending on who you like here, I mean, it's a coin flip, so it's never a bad thing to, if you're confident, to pick one of these guys on the money line. The overs, I think, would be something to look at for parlay pieces. Maybe fight to start round 2 or 3. Probably the over will be set at 2.5, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Something to think about there. Or, if Victor, for me, if Victor is plus money, I might throw something on that. So we'll see. Next fight, Manuel Torres versus Trey Ogden. Torres, let's see. He is 13-2, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 73-inch reach. Ogden is 16 and 5, 33 years old, 5'11 with a 72-inch reach. So Torres has very good technical striking with a lot of power, very good kicks. He's high volume. He also has some sneaky submissions as well, but he's mainly a striker. He can grapple low, like I said, but he wants to keep this fight on the feet more so than not. Very tough and durable as well. Ogden, very well rounded. He's a grappler first, though. He does have solid striking with good power in his hands. Okay takedowns and very good submissions. He does struggle a little bit to get takedowns, but he'll keep working it if he wants it, and then he'll get it down eventually. So this is a very good fight too. I'm gonna go with Torres here. I just think he's the more dangerous guy on the feet. On the mat, I would say Ogden has the grappling advantage, but Torres, like I said, he's no slouch on the mat. He has a pretty decent get up game as well. That's just if Ogden can get this fight to the mat with those takedowns. So, um, Torres' takedown defense is pretty solid too. It's not awful or anything. So he's gonna have to work for it, but both guys are tough. And I think Torres is just gonna land the better strikes, the more impactful strikes, if you want to say too. And I'm going to say he wins this one by decision. So betting perspective, I may lean, maybe throw Torres money line in a parlay, but the over is maybe. But I think I ultimately might just stay away. This is just going to be one of those fights where I'm just going to gather more information on both guys and see what happens here. But not the greatest. I think there's tons better fights to make put bets on here. Next one, CJ Vergara versus Daniel da Silva. Vergara is 10, 4, and 1, 31 years old, 5'6 with a 68-inch reach. And da Silva is 11 and 4, 26 years old, 5'6 with a 70-inch reach. So Vergara, solid striker. He likes to push forward. Set a good pace on his opponents. Very good cardio. In a couple well, one of his fights, he did look like I don't know if that was a short notice fight though, but he did slow down in that fight. I do remember when I was watching some tape, but more times than not, though, his cardio is very good for 3 rounds. He's very tough. Like I said, he just hunts you down if you want to say. He's always going to be in front of your face and either go for some takedowns or um, show off his boxing there. De Silva, though, he's a very dangerous fighter in the first round. First round, guys. We all know this. He's got good striking and good power in the first round. He's got very good grappling and submissions in the first round. But after that first round, he fades hard. And actually, maybe even after 3 or 4 minutes in the first round, he fades hard. So, and I don't want to like to say this about guys, but he does like to give up a little easy, if you wanna say, if the things aren't going his way in the first round, he kinda just packs it in and just waits a little bit until he gets submitted or knocked out, but you have to go Vergara here. Um, he's either gonna get the finish in the first or second round. He's gonna weather De Silva's storm in the first 2 or 3 minutes, or we'll just say 4 minutes tops, and then after that, Vergara's gonna take over, either get a I think he's gonna get a knockout here, but maybe he can get a submission. He's not really known for a submission, guy or anything like that. So with my pick, give me Vergara to win by, I'm gonna say, a late first round knockout after De Silva kinda, like, gives up after 3 or 4 minutes, and then Vergara's just gonna put a pace on him, and then he's just gonna cover up and call it a day after that. So, betting perspective, definitely the unders here. Vergara inside the distance is something to look at, or KO. I think those are all great bets. Definitely, fight doesn't go under 2.5, under 1.5. All those are live. Very good bets. Next one, Trevin Giles versus Preston Parsons. Giles is 15 and 4, 30 years old, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. Parsons is 10 and 3, 27 years old, 5'11 with a 72-inch reach. Okay, let's get to this. Giles, very good. Well, he's a good striker, not very good. I'm sorry, good striker. He can be a little low volume at times. He's got very good straights right down the middle, though. He's got good power with those. He can wrestle and grapple. We did see that in his last fight. Nothing amazing though. Okay takedown defense. Parsons a very good grappler with very good submissions. His striking is okay. He does have some power in his hands if he lands. He can be hittable on the feet, but he's pretty durable. And, he's got a lot of first round submissions on his resume, so he likes to get it done early. I know in his last fight against Evan Elder, not Wilder, Elder, he went to decision. It was very clear cut 30-27, but we all know Elder is pretty tough guy too as well. So, I like Parsons in this one actually. I like his grappling. I'm really not that impressed with Giles, I'll be honest. His last fight against, Louis Koske, not impressed whatsoever. He just literal that fight was so bad, and then he got knocked out by Morales, which that's cool. Knocked out by Dricus du Plessis, that's cool. He did beat Roman, but he did not beat Roman. That's a bad judging thing. So, I mean, I just like Preston's, grappling his matchup. I think if he can get this fight to the mat, I think he's gonna be able to out-grapple Giles, slow him down a bit as the fight goes on, and eventually end up getting a submission, maybe, like, 2nd round or so. Um, would I be shocked if Giles gets a knockout or something early? No, because like I said, Parsons is hittable on the feet, but I think Parsons is gonna go for the wrestling and grappling early and start it out like that, and then eventually get a submission as the fight goes on. Um, Betting perspective, Parsons' money line isn't bad. It's pretty close to a pick 'em. So I'm more confident in Parsons than I am with the Altamirano money line. I know both of them are close. Another thing would be the unders. I think both guys have a chance to end this fight, but I would probably stay away from the unders a little bit or overs. I like the money line here if you want to do anything, and if not, just stay away. Next one's gonna be Steven Peterson versus Lucas Alexander. Peterson is 19 and 10, 32 years old, 5'10 with a 70-inch reach. Alexander is 7 and 3, 27 years old, 5'11 with a 73-inch reach. So Peterson's a well-rounded fighter. He's got okay striking and okay wrestling. Very tough, very durable, good cardio. He likes to push forward, stay in his opponent's face. He doesn't really do anything super amazing, but his best traits are the intangibles, the cardio, durability, the toughness, relentlessness, stuff like that. Um, Alexander, his best traits is his striking. He's got very good striking, very good power in his hands. He keeps his range well. He has got good kicks. His grappling is pretty decent, but he's more so a striker. I know in his last fight against, Brito, I think it was a short notice fight, so we did gas a little bit. I think it was when did he was it the 2nd round Brito I think it was the 2nd round Brito got that submission. So, I'm not gonna give him too much. I don't wanna say he has bad cardio, but I think that was short notice. So, this one's tricky for me though, because I do think Alexander is the more dangerous of the 2, but Peterson, like I said, his intangibles, his toughness, relentlessness, his, durability, his cardio, all that is gonna play a part in this fight, and I'm gonna pick Peterson to win this one because of that. He may lose the 1st round, but I think as the fight goes sorry about that. I think as the fight goes on, like in rounds 2 and 3, he's gonna be able to, I don't wanna say break Alexander, but push a pace on Alexander to the point where he's gonna slow down, and it's gonna be more noticeable as the fight goes on. Peterson's gonna get stronger and just win a close decision, 29-28, may even go to split. I'm gonna stay away from this fight. Betting, I may look at the over. I just don't see how Alexander's going to be able to finish Peterson, and Peterson's not really known to be a finisher either. I mean, he's got 6 knockouts and 7 submissions, so that's pretty decent actually. But he's lost 9 decisions and 6. He won 6 of them. So, like I said, very tough, very durable. I don't see Alexander finishing Peterson. Maybe Peterson can get a very late finish, but I would look at the over, maybe fight to start round 2. I would stay away from the money line unless you like Alexander, though. But give me Peterson by decision if I didn't say that. Next one, Daniel Pineda versus Tucker Lutz. Pineda is 27 and 14, 37 years old now, 5'7 with a 70-inch reach. And Lutz is 12 and 2, 28 years old, 5'8 with a 72-inch reach. So, real quick, look at all these draws. Accidental eye poke, guillotine, KO. I think these were all like um no contest or something because of drugs or failures or something, or he tested positive for something. So this guy's crazy, man. So I don't even know why he's still in the UFC. But anyways, let's get to it. Pineda, he's a solid wrestler and grappler for 1 round. He's got very good submissions for 1 round. His striking is okay. He's got good leg kicks with good power for 1 round. And he's a first rounder bust fighter. He's kill or be killed. I really want to say out of all of his wins and losses, okay, so he lost by decision 5 times. So in every one of his wins, he's finished, and most of his losses, he's got finished. And I want to say a lot of them have been um, lately. He's either getting finished or getting the finish. So something to think about there. Lutz is well-rounded. He's good striking, good wrestling. His takedown defense isn't the greatest, but it's solid. His cardio is pretty good, and he's very durable and strong. So I got to go with Lutz here. I can't. No one can trust Pineda at this point in his career. 37 years old. He's getting drug tested and popping for stuff. He's got about 3 or 4 minutes of cardio in the first round, just like Daniel De Silva. And if he doesn't get that finish, he's gonna lose the fight. So I'm gonna go with Lutz to get the finish. I'm gonna say it's a second round ground and pound early. Um, Betting wise, I like the unders again. Fight doesn't go. Lutz inside the distance. I just don't see how Pineda's going to win this fight. Lutz is strong enough and more and durable enough to survive that storm. And Pineda needs to be cut, I think, unfortunately. He's just one of those guys. I don't know why he's still in the UFC. I'm shocked that he's fighting. All right, main card, guys. Chidi Njokuani versus Albert Duraev. Chidi is 20-8, 34 years old. 6'3" with an 80-inch reach, and Duraev is 15-4, 34 years old, 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. So Chidi is a very, very good striker, good kickboxer, very technical, good kicks, good elbows, good knees, explosive, very quick. Takedown defense is okay. If he does get taken down, he's got a pretty decent get up game early. He kind of does fade a little bit if someone implements a wrestle heavy or grappling game plan, which in this fight I'm pretty sure Duraev is going to do. Cart and like I s and cardio can be an issue later as the fight goes on. Duraev is a good wrestler with good takedowns. His takedowns can get sloppy as the fight goes on. He gets a little tired, and then he starts shooting really far away takedowns. He misses, and then he gets sprawl, and then Chidi can sprawl out or any fighter. His striking is okay, kind of wild. He can be hittable, he's gotten knocked out by Buckley, I believe, in his last fight. I was there in UFC Austin. But I'm gonna go with Shitty here. I just think he's the better, more dangerous guy. I think on the feet, he's going Duraev's gonna have problems. Duraev might do good in the first round with his wrestling, but I think he's gonna start to fade and his wrestling's gonna be sloppy. Chitty's gonna be able to stop those takedowns and get like do the sprawling technique and then get up and then maybe get some knees in there, get some elbows, and get the knockout eventually. So with my pick, I'm gonna go with Chitty to get the knockout. I'll say second round knockout. Betting. This is tough because I can kind of see it go either way. I know like I said, I like Chitty here, but if Duraev gets that wrestling going and it really taxes Chitty's cardio, then I think that's going to be an issue for Chitty. But the way I see it though is I think Chitty's gonna get the knockout. So maybe if the over under is set at 1.5, maybe over 1.5. If it's set at 2.5, maybe under 2.5. Um, maybe Chitty inside the distance. Some I don't know. It's this one's a tough one. I may just stay away altogether and maybe like a Chitty inside the distance prop would be the best if I'm just thinking right off the top of my head. I'll look more into this one. Alex Perez versus Manel Kape. Perez, 24-7, 31 years old, 5'6", with a 65.5-inch reach. Kape is 18-6. Sorry, I missed it. 29 years old, 5'5", with a 68-inch reach. So Perez, very well rounded, good striking, good wrestling. The biggest red flag for me with Perez is his submission defense. It just seems like he just gets caught in the guillotine or rear naked choke for whatever reason, making a mistake, or if someone's just a better grappler than him. I think out of his 7 losses, 5 of them have been by submission, and then one of them is knockout. But he's got solid cardio and good pressure. He pushes forward. Um, Manel, very dangerous fighter. Good power in his hands. Good. He's a striker. Obviously, he does have some good wrestling he can use if need be. He likes to keep the fight on the feet, though. Very explosive, like knees, elbows, good kicks, good power in his hands. He does have some submissions in his career, so it's something to look out for Alex Perez. But they're all have been early in his career. Lately, he's been knocking out or going to decision, but he does have those in his back pocket. Interesting fight, but I really like Kape here to get it done. And I'm not saying Perez is not good. I just think Kape is more dangerous. He's gonna be better on the feet. Perez is gonna need to use his wrestling, and that's only gonna leave him open for submission. So it's always a like I said, the coin flip and a red flag for me. Not to say that Manel is gonna be able to get a submission, but there's a possibility. Um, I wanted to say cop by knockout, but Perez is pretty tough. So I'm gonna say he wins this one by decision, probably 29-28. Maybe the third round, Perez can win the third round, but I think the first 2 rounds are gonna go to Cape and he should win this one by decision. Would I be shocked if Cape gets a knockout or submission? No, I wouldn't. But I think I'll be going to decision. Betting wise, I like top money line. It's not bad. I think it well, it was minus 200, but it says minus 230. Anything more than minus 250, I would kind of stay away. Minus 200, it would is not the greatest either, but I think it's about right. Um, over unders lean over if it's 2.5. If it's 1.5, definitely want to hit that over for sure. But um I would maybe stay away from the over unders on this one. Maybe the fight to start round 2, but that's still a you'll be sweating that first round. Andrea Lee versus Macy Barber. Lee 13 and 6, 34 years old, 5'6", with a 69.5-inch reach. And Barber is 11 and 2, 24 years old, 5'5", with a 65-inch reach. So Lee is a very good striker, good kickboxer with good kicks, good punches, good volume. Okay grappling. Her takedown defense is not good at all, though, but she does have some submissions off her back. She can be dangerous. She doesn't just sit there. She's always active on her back. So you throw in those elbows and ground and pounds and stuff like that. Barber's well rounded. She's got good wrestling, good takedowns, good striking as well. Very tough and very strong. Very young too as well. 10-year age difference is always something to look at. But I'm gonna go with Barber here. Lee, there is a I'm not saying Barber's gonna just, like, dominate or destroy, but there is a chance that Lee can win this fight. But I just think Barber's gonna be too much for she's gonna push her up against the cage, she's gonna be stronger than Lee. She might get those takedowns up against the cage, and that's how this fight's gonna basically play out. I don't think Barber's gonna wanna make this a kickboxing fight because she's probably gonna lose that fight. So if you make this a dirty fight, you get push her up against the cage. I think that's what she's gonna do, and basically win that fight. 29-28 or maybe 30-27 if she gets some takedowns and some good work from top control. So I'm gonna say Barber by decision. I love the overs here. I don't think anyone's finishing anybody here. Fight to go the distance, stuff like that. I don't want to touch money lines here because it's a women's MMA fight, even though I do think Barber should win pretty convincingly. But I thought that for a couple other women's fights, and it didn't happen. It was completely the opposite. Like I said, Barber by decision, overs. Next one, Nate Landwehr versus Austin Lingo. Landwehr is 16 and 4, 34 years old, 5'9", with a 70.5-inch reach. Lingo, 9 and 1, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 70-inch reach. Okay. Landwehr, he is a brawler. Love this guy. He's one of the funnest fighters to watch. Is what how it he loves to push forward, come in, throw bombs. He's pretty durable. He has been knocked out a couple times with the brawls, but not the most technical of striking. But like I said, good power, high volume. He can wrestle and grapple. We've seen him get a submission recently against Ludovic Klein. and got solid takedown defense too. Lingo, he was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago against Hamos, and Hamos thought he was a lightweight for a minute or something and missed weight by like 8 pounds. But so he's on this card now. He's a solid striker with power. He can wrestle at times, very tough, good takedown defense as well. He hasn't fought in about a year and a half. And yeah, like I said, he was supposed to fight on the UFC Las Vegas card, I believe. And that's something to think about for trying to cut weight again. We don't know how it looked or whatever, and he is taking this fight on short notice. But I really like Landwehr in the spot. I just think Lingo's not super dangerous. Landwehr is. I think Landwehr can push a pace on Lingo. I think he can. I think this fight is probably going to end up being a fun fight to watch. Lingo is tough. I will give him that. But I think eventually Landwehr gets that knockout later in the fight as Lingo starts to slow down, maybe even like a third round knockout. So with my pick, I'm gonna go with Nate the Train. I'll say third round knockout. I think he gets it done. That's about the time when he does it. Nate money line I like. It's at minus 270, 260. I think I got it at. Over 1.5, maybe is a good look. If it's 2.5, I don't know. We'll think about that one. I think this one may be set at 1.5. And if it is, I'm gonna get that over for sure. Other than that, yeah. Maybe I don't mm, yeah, just stay away from that fight. I think it's Landwehr or the overs or maybe a Landwehr knockout. Alright, co-main event, Holly Holm versus Yana Santos. Holly Holm is 14 and 6, 41 years old now, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach, and Yana 14 and 6 as well, 33 years old, 5'8" with a 68.5-inch reach. So we all know Holly Holm. She's a solid striker with very good kicks, good boxer, good cardio, very technical, um, good takedown defense. She does like to push forward. She's strong in the clinch. Her last fight against Vera, I believe she did not lose that fight. I think she won that fight. Friend of the show, Caitlin Vieira. Um, she didn't she looked a little slower in that fight, I will say, and then that kind of worries me here because I'm hoping that she doesn't get slower than that. If she can stay the same, okay, but that's one thing to worry about for me, but Santos is a good striker as well, good volume, she can wrestle and grapple. Takedown defense is not that great. Um, doesn't really have the most power in her hands, but Holly Holm doesn't really either. This fight's gonna go to decision. I don't see any finish from any of these fighters. So, like I said, the red flag to me, a little one, is Holly Holm gonna be the Holly Holm that we just saw against Ketlin Vieira, or is it gonna be the Holly Holm that's a little bit older, a little bit slower? But Santos is coming back from about a year and a half off. And, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, I think she just had a baby, maybe like a year ago or something like that, so something to think about as well. I'm staying away from the money lines here, guys. I would love to put Holly Holm in a parlay, though, but it's women's MMA. There's a lot of red flags here. I love the overs, like I said, so with my pick, though, I'm gonna say Holly Holm does get the decision. It's gonna be close, I think. Um I just think she'll be able to stuff Yana's takedowns, which I think that's Yana's best way to win this fight is to try to get this fight to the mat. But Holly Holm's really good. She stuffs him a lot, and she keeps the fight on the feet for the majority of the time. And I do think Holly is going to be stronger than Yana. So give me give me Holly Holm to win by decision to be close. Um, looking at the overs. That's all you need to know about that one. Main event time. This is going to be fantastic. Chito Vera versus Corey Sandhagen. Vera is 22, 7 and 1, 30 years old, 5'8", with a 70.5-inch reach. Corey Sandhagen, 15 and 4, 30 years old, 5'11", with a 70-inch reach. So Vera is a solid striker. Got very good kicks up the middle, good leg kicks, great cardio and durability. Very good power in his hands as well. He's got good grappling and submissions if this fight does get to the mat. and he's just that mythical 5-round fighter, just like Marab, where not the same, but, like, both those guys just have this mythical status on them, and he is one of them because whenever a 5-round fight he's in, he usually wins, but 3 rounds, for whatever reason, he just can't do it. Sandhagen, very good striker, very high volume, good elbows, knees, kicks, high kicks. He likes to go for those explosive attacks. Good cardio as well. He's got solid grappling himself, and he's pretty durable too. Um, he lost to by decision, Jan, and he lost to Dillashaw, which that was questionable as well. So he's fighting pretty good as of late. This is a fun fight. I keep going back and forth. I'm really, really torn on this one. If this was a 3-round fight, like I said, I would pick Corey all day and twice on Sunday. But this is a 5-round fight, and you always have to think about this with Vera in a 5-round fight. I do think Corey is gonna land probably more strikes because that's just the MO with Marlon. He takes the strikes and takes the strikes, but he's landing the better strikes and the more powerful strikes. He's getting those knockdowns like he did against Rob Font. Font was like out striking him 2-1, I believe. And then he would just knock down Font, and then he would win that round. Dominic Cruz, I mean, kind of the same thing until I head kick. He was doing the same thing. Um, I think it's going to be the same thing. Corey's going to look very good early, land more strikes, and eventually Vera's going to turn on that 5-round switch, start landing the better strikes, start pushing the pace, maybe go for some grappling. He might have a grappling edge, actually. Maybe. We'll see. Ugh. So let me just throw this one out there before I say my pick. So my heart is saying Cheeto. My head is saying Corey. I know Corey more than likely should win this fight, but my gut is torn. Wasn't that weird? My gut is just like, I don't know, man. So this is why I'm prolonging this breakdown here. I'm gonna go with Cheeto. Am I very confident? No, but I do think he gets it done. He's just that mythical 5th-round fighter, man. He pulls it out. And I think he's gonna do it again. I think it's gonna be very close. I think it's gonna go to decision. From a betting perspective, I'm not gonna bet the money lines. I don't blame anybody for betting Corey money line because it's not even that bad. I would the overs here are gonna be key. Over like fight to start round 4, fight to start round 5, over 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. I think all those are great bets. And probably the safest bets because I don't think he's gonna be able to finish Corey unless it's later in the fight with a head kick or something crazy. It's not gonna be off a puncher or something like that. And Corey's not gonna fade either, like, completely gas out and then just give up. Um, but I do think Perez is gonna land the better shots as the fight goes on and win probably rounds, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Corey can win rounds 1, 2, or 3. So think of it that way. Rounds 2 and 3 are gonna be the closest rounds, I believe. We'll see who wins those, and that's probably who's gonna win the fight, whoever wins rounds 2 and 3. So, with my pick, I'm gonna say Cheeto. My decision, am I super confident? No, I just think he gets it done. That's just how he does it. No offense to Corey, but Corey has a very good chance to win this fight. I almost wanna pick him, but I'm gonna pick Cheeto here. But alright, guys. Those were my picks and predictions and the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC San Diego. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And on your way out, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. I hope this card is a better judged card than last one. But like I said earlier, we are going to be in Texas, and Texas is known to not have the greatest judging either. So, good luck to everybody on their bets. If you want to get one piece of advice from betting, especially on this card, and after you just saw how awful the judging was on last card, look at the over unders, the fight to start rounds, those kind of bets. Take the judging out of the equation. If you think a fighter can win inside the distance, that's the play. Don't do a money line and expect them to hit decisions. This judging is crazy again. We went through it last year at some point where and that's when I started doing over unders instead. It's just that it's getting crazy. So I'll stop there. I can keep going on. So yeah, thanks for watching again. And as always, until next time, be fighting night.